This is the overview of the housing market performance for the entire 2024 for the 4 main counties in North Texas, which are the Dallas County, Collin County, Denton County, and Tarrant County. Those are the ones that are the core of the DFW area, Dallas-Fort Worth area. Okay, let's take a look at what we have. So our 2024 graph is right here. Red is in Collin County and blue is in Dallas County. Green is Denton County and gray is Tarrant County. So let's take a look. So this is the performance on pricing, median pricing for homes that are residential, single family, 3 to 4 bedrooms in resale in those counties. As you can see, we had a more or less classic for at least, let's just say it. So this is our Collin County and Denton County. For these 2 counties, you can see the classic wave, what I call the classic waves. Look at how it looks here, right? In 2023, we had a similar wave for these counties. And you can see that the peak for both was in May, which means that the contracts for those sales were probably most likely written in April. So that tells me that for most counties, and let's take a look. So where is the highest point for all counties? The highest point for Collin, Denton, and Dallas was all in May. That means that 3 out of 4 counties, most contracts were written in April/May. For Tarrant County, we had a slightly delayed peak. Their peak was barely noticeable, but their peak was actually in July, which means that in Tarrant County, the highest priced contracts were written in June, probably a month before the closings. But anyhow, from May to June, April, May, June. So within all counties, those were the highest price points. So even though you do not see this kind of shape in Tarrant County, it is slightly present just with a slight delay. On pricing, we can see that compared to the peak of 2022, not a single county was able to get back to the same peak that they were at back in 2022 before the interest rate started to rise. The only exception, I would say, would be Denton County. If you look at the Denton County, their median in 2022 was 512, and their median in the peak of 2024 were 497, which means that they're only 12K below their peak of COVID prices. All other counties are significantly below their 2022 prices. So Denton County is the only one that's catching up, and the rest of them still have a little bit of ways to go before they go back to the prices that were during COVID times. That's pretty much all on prices that I can see that were worth mentioning. The only thing that I would also say is that despite it is being an election year and we had very slow sales, lots of inventory, you will see it in a second. Despite that, the prices actually held up, especially if you look at the performance of, for example, Dallas County, Denton County in green, even the Tarrant County, you don't really see that many ups and downs, nothing unexpected. The prices were holding up pretty well through most of the year. Of course, every year the prices go slightly down toward the holidays and toward winter. But if you were counting on your ARV to hold up in at the beginning of your rehab, for example, beginning of your flip, chances are your final numbers were not that far off. Unless you were putting your property and selling it in the middle of deep fall and beginning of winter. That's the only place where we see the prices really starting to slope down. But that's a normal occurrence that we see every year. Alrighty, let's take a look at our days in the market. So despite prices holding up fairly well throughout the year, we can see that the lowest prices were in April, just like the data shows that the highest price contracts were written also in April. And we can see that in April, an average house would expect anywhere between 12 to 16 home shoppers quickly checking out the house and starting to write offers. Not so much toward the December. So this is the end of the year. In December, those numbers pretty much doubled or sometimes tripled, with anywhere between 33 and 40 days days on the market before. Oh, my bad. So before in April, the house would go in about 2 weeks. My bad. I'm confusing shows per listing with days in the market. In April, we could see that we could get away with the house being on the market anywhere between 13 to, let's just say, 20 days, which is the lowest number of days on the market. And then toward December, we were in the market for a month point one before the house could be expected to actually get under a contract. And as you can see, this dip did not last long. We went from March, April, May, June. After June, it pretty much started to skyrocket. And that's where we are right now. We're even at higher days in the market. So for those of you who are flippers, who are putting your homes in the market right now, just be aware. 2 months, do not go into the market with an expectation of being able to sell within the first open house. You're most likely going to have to wait. Let's take a look at our months of supply. Months of supply is also called backlog of unsold inventory. But we can see that our backlog of unsold inventory is right now almost double. So if in 2020, at the end of 2022, we were at 1.8 to 2 months of unsold inventory, then most of 2024 we spent at 4 months of unsold inventory. Now that's actually not too bad because those are central counties. As you can well see in my report on, let's just say, Henderson County, Wise County, and some other counties, they had up to 10 months of unsold inventory. So this is pretty decent, but also notice how in uniform or in unison, these counties have moved to about 4 months. Like it's almost like, even though Tarrant County is nothing like Collin County, and Denton County is nothing like, let's just say, Dallas County, you see how much in unison these lines are traveling, which means that as long as you are within this core 4, the magic 4 for the DFW area, the movements of the market seems to be fairly predictable, fairly as you can see, I'm liking the word for it. Look how much in unison those are moving year through year. And then compare it to the performance, for example, in my report for counties such as Ellis or Hunt or Parker or Johnson, and you will see how much jagged and unsynchronized the behavior of those counties is. That just I cannot stop being amazed at how predictable the movements of the 4 main counties are in terms of so many items, including the backlog of homes. You would be surprised that the backlog of homes seems to be the same in Tarrant County as it is in, let's just say, Collin County, but it is. Let's look at the backlog, but before I move on, 4 is actually a fairly good result. Anything above 4 is supposed to become a buyer's market. Anything below 4 is supposed to be a seller's market. 4 is actually neither or, it's neither the seller's nor the buyer's market, which is amazing because we had such slow sales. As you can see, days on market were very high. And despite those long days on market, we actually never went into a true to God buyer's market. We continue to stay at the break-even point between the buyers and the sellers market, which to me is another testament to the strengths of the market in these main four areas. Seems like no matter what the world throws at them, election, natural disasters, lots of political turmoil, the interest rates kept going up and down, mostly up for 2024, and nevertheless, we are not seeing the horror of, let's just say, 7 or 8 or 9 months of inventory, like many other counties on the periphery of Dallas-Fort Worth are experiencing right now. But okay, moving on to homes for sale. Home for sale is the supply part of the supply and demand chain. On the supply side, again, look at how much in unison this counties are moving. On the supply side, we see again that what's interesting to me is that Tarrant County had almost not twice, but 1.5 times homes for sale as, for example, Collin County, which means that Collin County actually, people in Collin County were holding back on putting their homes for sale, while Tarrant County was much more active in that regard. And then we see that, interestingly enough, that Denton and Collin County mirror each other better, and Dallas and Tarrant County mirror each other. Look at how their curves are almost identical. But that just tells me that Tarrant County, in terms of sales behavior, is more like Dallas County, while Collin County, in terms of the sales behavior, is more like Denton County. Hard to see on this one. Also hard to see on this one. Yeah, it's even shown here, even shown in the pricing side, that Collin County is more like Denton County. Like Denton is me too of the Collin County, and Dallas and Tarrant County are the twins that are the younger twins of the bigger sisters right here. Which is funny because Denton County, I always thought that they would have, that they will be more like Tarrant than they would be more like Collin County. Alrighty, so that was the supply side. Even though we had pretty high numbers of homes for sale and the months of inventory was fairly high, but not officially into the buyer's market category, the sale prices held fairly steady, which means that the sellers can continue to demand their prices. And as long as they're willing to wait long enough, they should be able to get the prices that they requested, unless they are in a downward trend that tends to happen in the fall and winter. From the standpoint of demand, the closed sales, the demand seems to be significantly less than it was in 2022, no argument about it. But actually, I think that the demand side was fairly close to the behavior of 2023. And overall, the demand traveled in fairly predictable waves, just like it does almost every year, even though the months of inventory and supply, months of inventory went up much higher than expected. The demand continued to be, so the inventory was significantly higher than 2023, my apologies. But the demand was almost equal. So there lays the problem, that with the approximately the same amount of home buyers willing and able to close as in 2023, we had 1.5 times as many homes for sale. And this is probably what prevented the prices from going higher this year. So that was only demand. Let's take a look at one more time just to see that we're not missing anything. Predictably, the highest demand was in May, and it was really, really strong upswing from January to May, like it usually is. Look at how it's repeating every year. And then compared to other years, it was a more gradual slope. So for example, look at 2022. Here you see the same sudden ascent, but then you have a significant and very abrupt drop all the way down with very few stops in between. Here we have a similarly catastrophic drop, just a little bit less muted. We had just a couple of more months to enjoy a higher demand in 2023. In 2024, the demand took even longer to slow down than it was in 2023, even though we had an election year and the interest rates were doing their own evil thing that they did last year for us. That's actually a good indicator, again, testament to the strong performance of the 4 areas that seem to survive every single misfortune that the market throws at them. And once again, we see that the Collin County and Denton County are twinning or spooning over here. And then the Dallas County and Tarrant County are spooning in their own way. So the pattern is very consistent. And you can see it throughout the years as well. And then shows per listing, which is my last, not last, let's look at the percentage of original price. So shows per listing has really declined since 2022 and has not recovered. So the number of buyers that we saw in 2022, 35, 25, 35 per listing, now we're down to 7 to 10 or 5 to 6, and this 4 to 5. And I can attest to that. I am a seller agent on many flips, and it is really hard to generate the same kind of excitement among the buyers as we did in 2024. And those buyers who are walking through, they're much more cautious about the choices that they're making because there's so many more homes are available to them to see than people had in 2022. But anyhow, we are down to about 4 to 5 people who are shopping per house, which is a sad occurrence. Now, that's not to say that every home will only have 4 to 5 people shopping there before it goes under a contract. We can only say that on average for their homes, like for example, I had a couple of listings where we had a good show, good, maybe let's just say 30, 40. I had a couple of listings in Grand Prairie. Grand Prairie, we had like 20 showings in one weekend. And we went with like 9 multiple offers. And that was in 2024. So for that reason, it's not correct to say that all homes are kind of suffering from a lack of attention, but that just shows on average. And then let's look at the percentage of the asking versus the price received. So median percent of original price. Home that receive 100% of their price are receiving asking price. And home that received less than 100% means that they had to do a price cut. So let's take a look at the price cuts in 2022, 2023, and 2024. In 2022, price cuts were virtually unheard of. And you can see that homes expected to sell anywhere between 100 and 7% to 10% above the asking price. In 2023, it was not unheard of for receiving 100% of your asking price, means being able to sell the house without price reductions, but only for the first part of the year. Toward the last part of the year, it really slowed down. In 2024, we see that at no time did any of the counties touch the 100% plank right here, which means that on average, homes had to survive anywhere between 2 to 3% price reductions in order to sell, which means that when you're calculating your ARV, your after repair value, or when you're trying to decide what price you're going to start with when you're listing the home, you need to keep in mind that whatever ARV you're calculating, you need to be able to take 1 to 2 to maybe even 3% of your expected ARV or expected sale price and still be able to pay the closing costs, to pay the, all the necessary expenses when selling the house and still make a profit. So when you're calculating an ARV just based on the performance of 2024, expect that you will have at least 1 to 2, maybe small price reductions, and your final contract price might be 2% or even 3% below what you estimated to do to sell the house at when you were initially purchasing it. That is all for now. Overall, my overall impression of 2024 after reviewing it from these multiple angles, I would say that despite a very slow year, and it was very disappointing year, many flippers were really struggling to sell their flips. It was a very slow year, very few showings, long time to sell, very picky buyers who requested money toward the down payment, money toward their paying the realtor, money toward their repairs, etc. Despite all of those struggles, the prices did not do such a great, downward slide as they did in 2022, for example. We held up, and in some cases, like in Denton County, we outperformed the previous year despite having the election and the interest rate issues. So that's my analysis of 2024. Overall, if this was one of the most difficult years in recent history for the housing market, especially with the inventory being really, really bad, you can see that the inventory in 2024, last year, was really repeating the cycles of inventory of 2019, 2018, and even being higher than the 2018, 2019 levels. So we had even a harder time in our market than right before COVID. Despite all of that, the prices held, the closing, the demand held. So that tells me that we survived the difficult year with so few drastic negative changes that I'm just amazed. I expected the last 3 to 4 years of 2024 due to the election to be disastrous, and they ended up beating my expectations in a positive way in almost every factor that I just reviewed with you guys. So that's my take on the performance of the Dallas-Fort Worth, North Texas market for 2024. And this review actually gives me more hope, actually gives me more confidence going into 2025, because if that was a very difficult year, things can only get better for now. The only thing that I'm truly concerned of at this point are the insurance rates. Insurance rates are seeming to be really starting to affect people's ability to purchase homes. Many home buyers are struggling to obtain insurance quotes, especially in some areas. And I actually have a separate video for you guys about insurance non-renewal rates by county. I really recommend you watching that video. So number one, what concerns me about 2025 are really a couple of things. Number one, tariff wars. So if there are tariff wars with China or Europe or Mexico, how will that affect the price of labor for new construction homes and non-new construction homes, including rehabs? How will that affect the price of appliances, lumber, paint, all of the things that investors need to really take on a project? Will the increase in those prices if those tariffs materialize? mean it is becoming less profitable to flip a house compared to, let's just say, 2024. So that's one thing that I'm concerned of. Insurance, as I mentioned before, is becoming more expensive. So it had nothing to do with your flip, but it has everything with your buyer's monthly payment at the end of the day. And then the last but not least is my concern is surprisingly the development of AI, um, especially for counties that strongly rely on jobs that are white collar. I'm very close to the community of software engineers, cybersecurity, fintech, medical devices, etc. And what I'm starting to notice, and then there's a real shift in employment dynamics in some of the industries like coders, software developers, project managers, in which they are starting to receive layoff notices due to the AI becoming more powerful and being able to replace at least part of their jobs. And that tells me that some counties, so for example, Collin County, Denton County, where we have a lot of fintech, a lot of high tech companies, I'm worried that some of the layoffs in the high-tech industry that may affect the housing prices in those specific counties, while county like Tarrant County or Dallas County, where more people might be in service areas or service jobs, or more people might be in like trucking or handyman or more like a blue collar area, blue collar jobs, they might be a little bit less susceptible to the job market's dependence on AI. That's just one thing that kind of troubles me about the upcoming 2025. The price of supplies due to the tariff wars, the effect of AI on employment for high-paying areas such as Collin County, and then the insurance costs. I would watch those. And also I noticed, I was reading an article about it just a couple of days ago, that the boom of suburbs, boom of people moving away from the big centers seems to be over. The companies are calling the people back. They're asking them to be in the office at least part-time. So even though people bought homes in these fairly remote areas, like for example, west of Weatherford or east of, let's just say, maybe in Tyler, where they could afford a bigger house for the same amount of money that they would get in Dallas or in Collin County, and working remotely, it seems like I'm seeing people coming back to the center of the DFW to be at least part-time on site for their jobs. So I guess four four items for me to watch for 2025. Let me know if you have any questions, guys. Now we were reviewing the single family residential 3 to 4 bedroom resale. We haven't even touched on new construction yet. Might be able to do another video on that. But if you have any questions, or if you would like me to run a similar analysis for a specific county or a zip code or a city, excuse me, just let me know and I will be happy to accommodate. Thank you so much. My name is Elena and I'm a realtor in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas. I'm with Keller Williams Central 75, and I enjoy working with investors and helping them to make more profit, regardless of whether it is in flipping or in midterm rentals, short-term rentals, or just simple buy and hold properties, traditional rentals. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys at the next video.